So why am I down then all of a sudden?
Man, they're grateful.
This is the single biggest decision you've ever made. Trust your instincts.
What's going on, fam? It's your man, VACAY-J. And if you're new and you're loving All American, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Absolutely like, comment below, and definitely share. We're going to get into episode 4 recap for All American. And again, definitely a solid episode. Listen, if you missed any episode, definitely check out our All American playlist and you can get caught up on everything. So we're going to break down episode 4 of All American. So now the name of this episode is Bird in the Hand. And here's the description. It says, with the game approaching, Spencer is feeling uneasy until an old friend says something to him that makes everything suddenly click. Olivia applies for a coveted summer internship with the LA Tribune Online. All right, so let's get right into it. So now we're in the studio and we see Layla with a new artist. And we see that Coop goes in the booth and she goes in the studio and she sees this new artist doing their thing. Sounding pretty good, it's sounding all right or whatever. So, Cooper's like, oh, so that's supposed to be my replacement to Layla? And Layla looks back and she's like, well, I'm just trying out some new artists on, I'm trying to finish this album that, you were supposed to finish, right? Kind of like a little stab in the back, right? Kind of like that, right? So Cooper's like, yo, you really gonna do this? You really gonna replace, and use my song? And, Layla's just like, yo, this is our song. We put work into it. And, you already told me that you quit. You already told me that you quit. And she's like, Cooper's like, yo, you just like your dad. And she's like, what do you mean? Well, your dad took Patience's song and now you're doing the same thing with me, And she's like, listen, I'm just doing business right now. I'm just trying to finish this up. And Cooper's like, you know what, whatever, good luck with, your new coup, basically trying to replace me and take the song. What do you guys think? Do you think it's right for Layla to do this? Of course, Layla is just like feeling bad about it, but she knows she has to, stick to her commitments, right? Okay, now we see Olivia and she's practicing with Spencer because she has this interview with the LA Tribune. And she's practicing and just trying to just make herself, sound perfect and be perfect. Of course, Spencer's like, listen, just be yourself. You're good. It's going to be all good. They're going to love you. Don't even worry about it. So she gets up, then she leaves to go to her interview with all that confidence. So Spencer's now talking to Grace James, his mom. And he's like, I wonder, why they didn't tell me that Coach Dante quit before I signed that commitment letter. So of course, Grace, and she's like, listen, why don't you just talk to, Coach Hudson and just ask him what's going on and find out the truth. Of course, with Spencer thinking about everything, he's all up in his head about this decision. This is a life-changing decision. So he wants to make the right moves. So, he's definitely going to talk to Coach Hudson. Then we shoot over to the school. We see your boy Asher and Jordan, and they're talking. And, Jordan is telling Asher about the plan for him to go to junior college, get his stats up and everything, and hopefully he'll get recruited. So, of course, Asher's like, that's not a bad idea. He's like, that's something, but, it's better than mine because I'm not even playing football anymore. So Jordan is trying to apologize to him like, oh, my bad. And he's like, yo, don't even worry about it. So Jordan's like, listen, you're going to come to the game. And Asher's like, nah, I don't even want to mess with football right now. Like, just thinking about football, it just, kind of breaks my heart. He's still kind of messed up about not being able to play. So now we're at the interview and we got Liv and she's talking with, the person that owns the LA Tribune. And she's talking to her and she's interviewing her and it's going pretty well. The interviewer asks, so what do you think about LA Tribune? And Liv is like, yo, it's perfect. So she's like, well, if it's so perfect, what do we need you for, right? Why should we hire you if everything's all good? Of course, that question stumps Liv because she's like, man, okay, that's a hard question that you asked. Of course, the lady, she laughs and she's like, listen, we ask everybody this. If people say we're perfect, we definitely want to get some, feedback so we can improve upon what we're doing. So, Liv is like, okay, I understand that. So again, they say that they love her work. They love what she's doing. And, they're looking for some new people, some new writers. So what she does is she gives Liv an assignment, and she says, Liv, you can create whatever the topic is. We want to see you, broaden your stroke, broaden everything, and make something poppy and nice. Now we're at the cafe. We got Patience, and she's talking to Coop, and Coop, of course, is mad that, Layla is using another artist on the song, and Patience just like, yo, you can't be mad, like it's business, like it has to be done. And Cooper's like, yo, it's like a similar situation in you. And she's like, no, they totally cut me out of the process. Like, at least you can give, Layla some tips on things or whatever, but, you so mad about that. But you can't even rap, but definitely give her some suggestions. Maybe that can bring things together for you and her. So now we're at the gym, and we see Coach Hudson and Spencer. And Spencer's like, yo, did you know that Coach Dante, already left before I signed? He's like, why did you sign me? Why did you, want me to commit? And he's like, well, I thought you was committed to the school and not an assistant coach. Are you committed to the school, or are you committed to the assistant coach? And of course, Spencer's like, nah, I'm committed to the school. But he's just like, well, I'm committed to both. It was a little bit of both that influenced me to definitely sign with Toledo State. So he's like, listen, I came down here for your game. I thought you would be grateful. And he's like, yeah, I'm grateful. I'm definitely grateful. He said, we look forward to seeing you in the game, and we're going to get the whole offense around you. We're going to set things up around you. So Coach Hudson, he goes to see Coach Baker and talk about how, great Spencer is and everything else like that. So Coach Hudson is like, yo, how about you come and coach the team? A position has opened. Basically, he wants to give Baker the position that Dante left, right? That Coach Dante resigned from. So he's like, wow, you offer me a job? Okay, sounds good. Let me let you know. Let me talk to the wife. So now we're at Liv's first interview. And of course, she is interviewing Simone. And Simone is excited for her. This is her first interview. And they told her to do something poppy, do something fun. So she gets her to, talk about why she chose to go to the college that she's going to. And she talks about how, there was a lot of pressure for her to be really excellent as a Black person in sports. She felt a lot of pressure, and, really any mistakes, they already cast you out and everything else like that. So the interview doesn't go as well as she thought it would go. Now we're at the school, and Spencer is talking to Coach Baker, and he's like, listen, man, this is everything I dreamed of, but why am I having my doubts? I'm having doubts about this decision. Coach Dante is not there. He basically convinced me to come and everything, and they want me to really play. They're going to put their offense, all around me and everything as far as me being a freshman. And of course, Coach Baker's like, listen, man, just, follow your instincts, man. Follow your instincts. It's going to be all right. This is going to be the biggest decision of your life. Definitely do what you feel is best for you, and it will all work out. All right. Now, Spencer goes to the cafe because now Liv wants to interview him, and he's excited about it. And, she's like, yeah, I need something fun. I need something poppy, because the other one was kind of serious. I need you to make up for, what Simone was getting into was pretty serious. So he does what he does, but then he gets serious about his decision to go to Toledo and how they knew that, Coach Dante wasn't there. So he's really kind of having doubts about it. So this interview goes from supposed to be fun, but goes serious as well. And she's just like, listen, let's stop the tape. Listen, you got to make the best decision for you. They're kind of like, baiting you into this, and, they're gaslighting you. You got to make the best decision. And it sounds like, like it's not going to be the greatest decision, but, you got to do what's best for you. All right. Now, back at the Baker house, we got Coach Baker and his wife, Mrs. Baker, and they're talking about, going to Toledo for Spencer's first game. But Coach Baker's like, how about we go and possibly stay in Toledo, Ohio? And basically he tells her that they offered him the job to be the coach up there, and he'll also be playing, he'll be coaching with Spencer. So he's really thinking about it. And she's like, listen, I'm all for it. I'm open. My job is open now. We can do whatever we want to do. And she's like, do you really want this job? And he's like, you know what? I really think I do want this job. I really think I do. But he still has a lot to think about, a lot to consider, even though he just spoke to his wife about it. he's still thinking about everything. But he definitely wants to take the position and coach Spencer again. Right. So now we're back at the house. We're on the other side of the house. And we see, Liv is doing her interview, writing her interview with Simone and Spencer. And, Jordan's like, yo, you could have asked me, I'm great too. You interviewing great people. I'm great too. And she's like, well, yeah, but I just chose them. Don't be mad about it. He's like, listen, I don't know why you don't think I'm great. The coaches don't think I'm great. And Liv's like, listen, it doesn't matter what they think. It's all about what you think. You have to exhibit that energy that you're great at what you do and who you are. So they have this, real deep discussion, and Jordan's definitely having his doubts about himself because he's not being picked by the coaches. So she's telling him just be great. Now in the studio, we see the studio's empty, but Coop is in the studio, and she comes to the studio. She's looking at the mic and everything, and Asher shows up, right? Good old Asher, right? Asher the snitch. He snitched on her, but she doesn't even know that. But anyway, it doesn't even matter at this point. They're talking about, what's going to be the next steps for their career, because they're both in kind of a position where they can't do what they dreamt of doing. And, Cooper's mad about them stealing the song, but Ash is like, listen, if anybody wanted to take my song, it must be a great song. So just think about it that way. So, of course, that makes Coop smile and, definitely gets her in a different perspective of things. Meanwhile, now we're at the practice for the Platinum All-Star All-American football game, the Platinum, right? So they're practicing, and Cam is there. Cam is always getting into problems, right? He's always talking junk, and he gets into it with this linebacker. They start fighting and everything else like that. It's like, man, they just going at it. Then all of a sudden, Jordan jumps on the field. He's like, yo, you guys are the best of the best. Why are we fighting, man? It's not about that. So Jordan comes out, screams on both of them, and says, yo, we're the best of the best, and we need to just have fun. You know what I'm saying? We already won our championships. Like, this is not about that. It's all about us having fun, showing, our skills to all these different coaches and everything else like that. He tells both of them to shake hands. So Jordan steps up as a leader, right? Mr. Quarterback leader, and he makes them shake hands so they can just play football. Of course, Coach Baker's like, yeah, that's my boy. That's my boy stepping up as a leader. I think he gets that from me. And Coach Montez says, nah, I think he gets that from me. And she walks away. And Coach Baker's like, what? What are you talking about, right? All right. So now they shoot back to the Baker house. And, Coach Baker's just like, I'm really impressed by my son. He stepped up as a leader. I like that. And he's like, maybe I should definitely take the job so I can help Spencer with that as well. And she's like, yo, he's considering her as well. But she's like, don't make it about me. It's about you and your decision. I'm with you all the way. Now, we're playing the game, right? We're ready to play the game. They're still practicing. Coach Baker, Jordan Baker, it's the Platinum All-American game. Everybody's excited. It's the Western Conference. And, Jordan's talking to one of his boys, introduces one of his boys to, his father. And, he talks about how, Jordan definitely, with all that pressure, he still managed to become one of the best. So now Liv is working on her, paper for the LA Tribune. And she's talking about athletes and how athletes are just held to a higher standard. If they do anything wrong, then they're definitely canceled, and it shouldn't be like that, right? So the game is being played, and, Cam is just giving props to Spencer, saying Toledo State don't know what they got coming to them. Definitely, you're a great player. And they show each other, love and respect, all right? Now, halftime comes, and we see that Coach Baker is talking to Coach Hudson, and he's like, listen, man, I've been thinking about this, and I don't think I'm going to take the position. I'm going to have to decline on that. And he's like, why? He's like, well, I think Spencer just needs to fly, by himself without me being by his side. We've had these couple of years, and he needs to go ahead and do what he needs to do and learn how to fly with his own wings. So, of course, the Toledo State coach is not happy about it, but it's all good. Right now, again, halftime, we see that Spencer's there, and they're interviewing Cam, and Cam is going to decide what school he's going to go to. And he flips the hats, and then he gets another hat out. He says, stay tuned. So he didn't tell anybody what school he's going to. He hasn't decided yet. Spencer definitely is seeing that as, real funny, but at the same time, he needs to look at his own options as well. Now we're back in the game. Second half, we see Coach Montez, and she's like, all right, Jordan, it's your turn. Jordan is getting in the game. He's excited. He's nervous. He asked the coach to put in his boy, with him so they could play. So they get in, they do their thing, and Jordan plays a heck of a game, right? He does his thing. Him and his boy, they score some touchdowns, and everybody's excited, definitely showing love, clapping it up, and the whole nine, right? Now, we see Coop and Layla and Patience, they're at the spot. And, Coop apologizes to her that she didn't, tell her that she quit and everything that was going on. But she definitely is just like, yo, I want us to be, on good terms. And she gives a suggestion to have the new artist just freestyle instead of doing her own lyrics, doing Coop's lyrics. And she's like, that's a great idea. I think I'm going to try that, right? So now they're all good. Now we see Spencer talking to Coach Hudson, and he tells him that, he thought about it, and he definitely he doesn't want to go to Toledo State, right? So he thought about it, and he doesn't want to go. Of course, Coach Hudson is definitely upset about that. Now on the field, we see Coach Baker and Spencer, and he's like, yo, listen, you've been like a father to me. You've been the best. And they show each other love, for all the years that, they've been, playing together, coaching and everything. But he's been more than just a coach. He's been like a father to him, been like a mentor to him, right? Now, back in the studio, we got Layla. She's with the new artist, and they say, we're going to try something new. And she tells the new artist to go ahead and freestyle instead of doing Coop's lyrics. So she does it, and she goes in. And she definitely goes in and lays down some dope lyrics. And Layla and the engineer, they definitely are like, man, this is hot. This is hot. And, of course, Layla is just like, man, that was a great idea from Coop. So it's coming out real dope. Now, Jordan, he's definitely feeling himself, right? Because he played a great game. He went in there and did his thing. Asher definitely went to the game, saw him as well to support his boys. And absolutely, Asher was there to let him know. He definitely played a great game. And where Jordan had his doubts, I don't think he has any doubts anymore. He definitely is feeling, like he's a great player and a great person as well. Back at the Baker house, you got Spencer and Liv, and they're watching a movie. And Liv gets a phone call. And she's like, oh, it's the LA Tribune. So she gets on the phone with him, and they're talking. And they're like, yeah, sounds good. We read your article. We read what you did. And, we decided to go with somebody else that was a little bit more poppy. So it wasn't looking too good, from what the conversation sounded like. But, at the same time, she's like, oh, okay. All right, great. Right. So, of course, you see Spencer, he got his head down like, she didn't get it. Man, all that hard work or whatever. So she's like, okay, thank you. Right. So she gets off the phone and she's like, listen, I got the job. So, of course, Spencer's all excited. He's like, what? You got the job? And she's like, yeah, they went with another person, but they like what I did anyway, and they're always looking for new writers. So they want me to work with them. So, of course, Spencer, very happy, very supportive. This relationship is definitely a great relationship for both of them as they support each other and love each other. Congratulations, Liv. And now Liv is moving on with what she wants to do. All right. Now, Coach Baker gets a phone call, and he gets a phone call from Coach Hudson from Toledo State. And he lets him know, hey, listen, you could tell him this, you could tell Spencer this, or I can tell him, but we're not going to allow him to get out of his, commitment letter. All the players that we were looking at this point have gone with other teams. And because he decided to go against us, we're not going to let him out. He can come and play with us, or he's going to spend a whole year and not be able to play for anyone. So now that's definitely some terrible news that Coach Baker has to tell Spencer in the next episode of All-American. So this is the recap from episode 4. Great episode, a lot going on. And yeah, we're going to see how episode 5 goes. This is definitely some devastating information. And Coach, Baker's going to have to tell Spencer what's really going on. If he doesn't play for Toledo, then he pretty much can't play for anyone for his first year of college. And that would suck, right? That definitely would not be good for Spencer, because Spencer loves the game. He's worked really hard to get to this point. So we're going to see. But this was the recap of episode 4, and I'm looking forward to episode 5. Definitely comment below your thoughts, your theories as to what you think will happen, and definitely look out for the what to expect of All-American for episode 5. So I appreciate your love and support. Definitely subscribe, like, share, and comment below. You know what it is. It's your man, VACAYJ. I'm out. Salute.